Well, looks like I'll be starting an art course real soon. I better practice how to draw people 16 days in a row. I'm sure that will be real useful. What? Last year, for about 16 days straight, before I went into my current art course at college, I practiced how to draw people for 16 days straight. Now, I'm not saying those days were wasted, but I did that for the sake of practicing for the course. And so far in the course I have had not one reason to draw a person. In fact, almost all the art that I've done over this course, which has lasted a year, has been entirely abstract. But, as you can see in the background, I don't tend to do abstract things. That's a lie, I do tend to do them. But not in my free time. But I also do them in my free time. But in the projects, they're also backed up by research and actually have meaning, instead of me getting images and warping them and distorting them beyond belief. Let me give a rundown of some of my project work. Okay, first project. I intended to initially, draw myself perhaps, or just people in general, I don't know. But then it turned out completely different. Instead, it was this. Project 2. Create a commercial product that would be used in this case, a hypothetical hotel. What did I create, you ask? Well, I of course created something fairly abstract. Project 3. Create anything from any theme you want, whether it's the given themes or your own one. So what did I do? Well, of course I created something abstract. And then the second year came round. The first project in that? Well-being project. What did I have to create? Something representing the theme of well-being. What did I make? Something abstract. By the end of this project, it has been over a year since those 16 days straight of practicing how to draw people. And not once were those practice sessions useful to my projects. And the current project? Create a t-shirt design, and you'll never guess what I'm doing. If you guessed something abstract, you would be right. Now, that's not to say that my practice was in vain. I mean, look at the background. It was clearly useful in some way. I know how a human being looks. I'm sure in a year, I'll know how a human being looks, but in more detail. And the year after that, even more detail. But it is very interesting to see the just large difference between what I do in my free time and what I do for projects. I think part of it comes down to the fact that projects mean I have to do research, context research, artist research. At the end of the day, I end up creating something that symbolizes my research without directly looking like it. In other words, something abstract. An abstraction of the concept that I have to use, an abstraction of my research. Meanwhile, the art I do in my free time is just art that I do. I get the pose reference, I draw the person. I get the image of a landscape if I feel like drawing a landscape for once in my life, and I draw the landscape. And sure, I think out the shapes in the images, but at the end of the day, there isn't really any research done, because I don't need to do that. I won't be graded for my free time work. Apart from, my ruthless online comments. But at the same time, the image in the background, sure, I may not have research done to create it, but it still represents a story, because those are my own characters. Those are original characters, OCs, if you will. This leads me to the logical conclusion that I should create abstract images representing my own characters and storylines. That would actually be pretty interesting, and I should do that. The logical next question is, do I prefer one form of doing something over the other one? Do I prefer doing characters stuff that have over abstraction? I don't think so. I mean, character art, you have to actually think about it more. There's things you can actually get wrong. With abstract stuff, you just have to make sure you're actually conveying your message correctly. Especially with project work, we have to tie in your research to your work. With character art, you just need to make sure things look right. Look at the time lapse here. You see that? I was drawing his hand there. Then I was like, I don't think it looks right. So I replace it with that. Now there's a circle there. And that will be useful. So in other words, you gotta get stuff right when you're drawing characters. When you're doing abstract stuff, not as much. A useful benefit of this is that I can continue drawing characters, but then if I ever feel like, I just can't do it one day, if I feel like I have some art block, which every artist does, that's the experience of everyone, then I can just be like, okay, get out the shape maker, it's time to make some shapes. A very useful tool. I mean, I don't even do it when I have art block, I just kind of quit for the day, perhaps the week, maybe even the month if I'm feeling adventurous and hopeless. The abstract stuff just starts as stuff I do for fun. And then it ends up worming its way inside my project and I get a merit grade for it, which is almost the best grade you can get. Those dastardly free time activities, making me good at art. This sort of almost double style I seem to have is very useful for impressing people. Like last week, I think, or maybe the week before that even, my teacher came into the room I was in to have a sort of like one-on-one, how are you doing with your project sort of session. And then she spent the next 5 minutes just looking at my art I do in my free time and realizing he uses a different style in his free time to the style he does in his projects. What? Like, yeah, trust me, I'm as confused as you are. I have no idea how I've gone the whole course so far without at all incorporating my style and my art. Okay, well I say that. I have incorporated my style and my art. Just my other style and my other art. As opposed to that style and that art, it's instead this style and this art. And yet, somehow, I think I have hardly ever combined these two aspects. I don't think I've really created anything that has both my character drawings and also my abstract stuff, which is pretty crazy, I think. I probably should do that, because it would be useful. And you know something, in 2 different projects so far, I've experimented with traditional art, something I always never do, and did stuff with ink. And then it went on to be really useful for the rest of the project, and hey, all I'm saying is that maybe I should do more traditional stuff in my free time. Just kidding, paint sucks.